Hello everybody and welcome back to LMM. And if you're enjoying what you're seeing on the channel at the moment, how about giving this video a like and maybe subscribing to the channel to help us grow and perhaps even check out Patreon. Today, I'm heading out in this thing, so come with us. Today, you join me as I take my ex-Norfolk fire appliance to the Fire Engine Day at Bressingham Steam Museum and Gardens, organised by the Norfolk Fire Museum. So that means I'm taking this thing to go hang out with its siblings, and if I'm lucky, they have the machine that replaced this back in its operational life, so that'd be really cool to get the two of those back together again. It doesn't say I can't go this way, so... Very much the wrong gear, Lawrie, very much the wrong gear. There's one thing about this truck that you really get to notice when driving it around on roads like this. It's designed to be driven full of equipment, full of water, and full of 6 burly men. And when it's not full of water, equipment, and 6 burly men, or women, it's very bouncy because it's meant to be taking all that extra weight. There's a good couple of tons of water, the equipment's a good extra couple of tons. I mean, the thing is gross for 11.5 tons, and I suspect that we're not even at 7 at the moment because people do get them downplated to be less than 7.5 tons. And so as you're bouncing around up here, you are quite literally bouncing around. Oh, I know where I am. That was exciting. It's the first time I've ever legitimately needed to use crawler. And by legitimately needed to, I mean wanted to. Today I've just realised we're going to go full circle. There's a picture of me when I was very small, 5, 6, that age, at Bressingham, standing in front of the fire engine looking very pleased. And now I'm coming back with mine. I don't know if it's this one, but I'm going to go in this one. I honestly can't remember if it's this one or the next one for the Steam Museum, but I was expecting there to be somebody on the gate to meet me, but there's not, so I'm just going to drive in. Oh wow, there's a lot of appliances. This is the best way to do it, is you just ignore the signs and it acts like you're meant to be here. Woohoo! There's lots of stuff.
Not knowing where I should go, I decided to park up next to the first appliance that I saw, and this turned out to be quite the problem.
Parking here is a bit of an issue because there's beef between these two. That one is the one that replaced that. So when that finished service at Great Yarmouth, that was the shiny new appliance that was got rid of for. So together again, the new one, the interlope proven. It's kind of cool to have the two machines that were at the same place, one the next generation, side by side, and now I need to go park it elsewhere.
As I trundled away from my truck's replacement, I was amazed how many fire appliances were in attendance, and if I'd paid a little more attention, it may have been obvious where I was meant to park, and that was in the lineup with all of the other fire engines. It was an amazing collection, and the majority of these vehicles are owned by or members of the Norfolk Fire Museum. It's an absolutely massive collection, possibly one of the biggest and most exciting in the country. So all I had to do was to swing the truck round and reverse it up, adding to the lineup. Not all of these machines are actually Norfolk appliances. Many of them came from a collection in Wales which was dissolved, and the members here got them to help tell the story of the fire appliance and to showcase different machines. Regardless, it makes for a visually interesting lineup. I was going to park, however, next door to a couple of genuine Norfolk appliances to give a great visual journey of how the fire appliances in Norfolk had evolved throughout the years. And for me personally, it was absolutely super to be able to finally get dupes to this event, something that I have been trying to get to for 3 or 4 years now, and either had the truck been broken or had something else going on those days, or rather embarrassingly, completely forgetting about it. So to finally be here was really very exciting. And once I got the truck parked up in the lineup, I decided the best thing I could do was go and have a look at some of the other appliances that were here at the show. Next door to us was a Dodge K850, which despite its appearances was only 4 years older than my Dennis and featured an earlier version of the Perkins 8.8 litre V8. This was the 510. It's worth pointing out that the registration, like my Dennis RS, is UCL, and I think these 3 letters were used by Norfolk Fire Service for a time. Looking decidedly older was this Comma, built in 1963, which I believe is powered by the Roots Slant 6-cylinder petrol engine. The body was done by Jennings of Sandbach, and this particular appliance was based at Sandringham during its working life. And it was great to see the evolution of one brigade's fire appliances.
You notice that they've all got the single blue light over the driver's side, and then another blue light towards the rear of the cab. A Norfolk thing. There you go. In the back of there, you can just make it out. The same as on mine.
Next up, we had another Dodge based on the Power Ram, and this thing I thought looked awesome. What's most impressive though is it's only done 3,000 miles since new. Up next was another Dodge with the same style of cab as my own G13. This is a G08, and this was an attempt by the Dumfries and Galloway Fire Service to get around HGV training, as this machine weighs under 7.5 tons fully loaded. Next up were a pair of Mercedes-Benz appliances, with the bodywork being undertaken by Saxon. This one was also based in Great Yarmouth at Galston, so likely one of the ones that replaced my own RS as well, and they were built in 1996 and 1997 respectively. And they look far more like a contemporary lorry that's been converted to a fire engine than some of the other machines we've seen in this video, particularly like this thing. This is a 1953 AEC Regent, and this originally worked at Merthyr Tydfil, and it is just beautiful. I absolutely love the shape of this. Parked next door was this Bedford TK with the bodywork by HCB Angus. It was new in 1970 and went to Kyneton in Warwickshire, and then when the year that my one came into service, this became a reserve appliance. The newest appliance in attendance was this 2002 Scania, which has just left service with the Norfolk Fire Brigade, and is an important part of the collection, showing how the fire engine has evolved. And at the very other end of the scale was this wonderful Supervoice Q3, an open-top machine. It was about now that I was lured by the siren song that is a steam engine and went to investigate. First off shed was Hunslet Quarry number 994 of 1909. The quarry Hunslets are a long way from home, the flats of East Anglia being very different to the mountains and hills that they spent their working lives on. I've been coming here since I was a child, and I've seen these engines working that it almost seems that they belong in East Anglia. And when I think of quarry Hunslets, I don't necessarily think of Wales and the mountains, I think of East Anglia and the flats. It may be weird to say it, but as well as having my favourite miniature engines of all times, the Waveney Railway has my favourite coaches. These things with their curved bottoms just appeared to glide over the rails and really captured a young lorry's imagination. I headed back up to take another look at my RS's replacement, the third Mercedes, and then came across these two Austin K2 auxiliary towing vehicles, with this one being built in 1942. I thought they looked particularly smart in the wartime grey, with this one even being fitted with the lights in order to work in the blackout during wartime Britain. And by this point, it was time for the first train. And with that clearing the section, it was time for the second locomotive, Fernley, to come out and go collect its train. Fernley is a strange little engine, and it's the first vertical boiler locomotive to ever be based at Bressingham. It was built from a large collection of bits and pieces, to quote its builder, and it's come together remarkably well. My next port of call was to go and check out the shed with a whole host of stationary engines and my favourite little engine of all time, number 25. A new addition was Black Prince, on loan from the North Norfolk Railway. There's also the J69 and Granville, a wonderfully chunky 040. The National Collections E4 is also based here, and one of these potentially once ran on the Mid-Suffolk Railway. I'm often asked what my favourite engine is, and I forget this. Thundersley. This is what I'd like to see steam more than anything. In the shed next door was the working standard gauge locomotive Martello and the UK's last standard gauge Garrett. There's also this, the only cruise lock in the UK, and next door to that, one of my favourite steam engines of all time, King Haakon VII, in a slightly drab condition from when it was in the Tarzan film. Having dragged myself away from the locomotives, this caught my eye. It is a Dennis turntable ladder built in 1962, and I would love something like this. Parked up next door was this wonderful 1938 Leyland Cub that spent all of its life working in Wales. And facing that was another Leyland from 1939, which featured no roof at all, so that would have been fun. By now, I was feeling quite hungry, but the good people at the Norfolk Fire Museum had put food on for exhibitors. And having had my fill, I returned back to see how the RS was.
Being here today for me is really special. Bressingham was the go-to place for me as a kid growing up, so coming back here always sparks those little bits of nostalgia. But actually bringing my little appliance there and having it as part of the day, particularly when I used to love seeing the fire engines when I was a kid, it just feels like everything's gone full circle, and it's so nice seeing this thing sat with other members of the Norfolk Fire Service. You know, we've got a lineup of Norfolk going on there, and just being part of it and helping support it, it's all really, really nice.
I was also in time to see this other Dennis RS appear.
What's also particularly nice is that since I've turned up, not only has another Dennis RS, so that's the RS133 I think, with the automatic gearbox, but a Dennis Sabre, which is that one over there, which is the evolution after the SS, which is after the RS. But having 3 Dennis appliances lined up together is glorious. Also, you can see how the doors should be on my RS, and you can see also on this RS the reasons that my doors were replaced. But really cool to see Dennis's together, and Dennis appliances. It's cool.
And of course, it wouldn't be a day out at Heritage Railway if I didn't get invited up onto the footplate of something. So here we go for a trip round on Fernley. Seeing all the motion buzzing around as you're flying along is absolutely bewitching. This thing is madcap and I love it. Oh, and don't worry about the inane squeaking. That's not like a serious lubrication fail. That's a pipe that goes through the roof and's rubbing on the side. It's quite entertaining how the 15-inch and the 2-foot gauge railways intersect and cross over each other, which means you get this nice moment of being able to watch the trains as they pass. Moving away, we soon picked up speed and headed back round on the Fen Railway, which was previously, in my day, known as the Nursery Line, but the nursery is long gone now. And having been forcibly removed from the footplate, I figured it was time to go and see how my fire engine was doing. And if you want to come along and get to see dupes for yourself and perhaps even go out for a trip on it, then remember to come along to the LMM Day at the Whitwell and Reefham Railway on the 10th of August. There'll also be the opportunity to do driver for a tenner on Sir William McAlpine with me if you're over 18, and come for a footplate ride if you're over 16. And you get the opportunity to see how the other Ruston 48 is going on, and the latest acquisition of the 165 that you guys helped save from scrap will also be on display. We'll also have a couple of the model railways seen on the channel on display, including the modular layout, so you can see that for yourself if you didn't get to see it at the Stratford Barn Model Railway show, as well as a limited supply of LMM merch, including some of the figures from Model U. We're also going to be hosting a vehicle show, so bring your own vehicles along and join the lineup. I'm bringing some of your favourites out from the shed to be on display. So we hope to see you on the 10th of August at the Whitwell and Reefham Railway, starting at 10 AM and finishing at 4 or 5 in the afternoon. All appearances of vehicles are subject to the usual, will they actually make it or not? And with that,
We're in the trunk. It's the end of the day, and lots of people are going home, including myself. So we're going to join in with the leaving parade. It's not really a parade, it's just people going home. But it has been an extremely enjoyable day. Just being able to join other people who are enthusiastic about fire appliances has been just great. And I have loved every single moment of it. It's been so lovely to come back to Bressingham and see how it's evolved since when I was a wee lad. And just come and have a nice day. It's just been nice to potter around, film a little bit and not do too much. All I need to do now is, get the old girl back home. But this is possibly the biggest fire event that I have come to ever. Convoys, we've been named like mini convoys doing the entrance to Peterslow Road Run, but to do a convoy that's entirely fire engines. This is magnificent, particularly to be with the two Dennis and the interloper, but to be with similar appliances is it's quite good fun. So I think they're all going to disc fish and chips, and I think I'll come too. So that brings us to the end of the day here at the Bressingham Steam Museum and Garden for the Fire Engine Day with the Norfolk Fire Museum, who are a wonderful group. They go to a load of different events. They've got a simply incredible collection of fire engines, possibly one of the greatest in the country. Also just a load of lovely people. It's been a real pleasure to come along and join this event. No, I was in Top Gear. That's what I've got. It's been super good fun. It's been lovely to join the event, and it's lovely at the end of the day by going for a road run. And thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing the fire engine go out for a day and seeing how Bressingham is now. So come along and see you next year. The plan is to attend again next year because it's been good. It's been really, really good. And with that, thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed this one, how about clicking somewhere over there for another video at Bressingham, this time in winter during the Christmassy time, or down there for another one starring this thing here. So thank you all for watching. See you next time, and I'm just going to enjoy being on a road run. My favourite thing about this, by the way, just to end the video, is the fact that people don't know this is happening, which is just we're all going for a trundle in the fire engine. So at the end of the day, suddenly